So, and the biggest surprise for myself is, A, that I'm alive, because I did go through a dark side where I was suicidal and things like that. Mm-hmm. And B, that I have the life I have at this age, that not only survived, that I thrive. I mean, it's still a struggle, every day is a struggle, but a baby gives you a different perspective. I told my wife the other day, I never really knew joy till I looked in my son's face, because when you see innocence like that, when you see joy on their face and there's nothing else that's touched it,
yes,
it's pure and it's real.
Yes.
It's just it's an amazing thing. So he teaches me things every day.
Isn't it amazing?
It's amazing. I mean, I struggled at first because I'm 52, so it was and I'm Mr. Mom.
Yes.
And so it was a struggle at first, but once I wrapped my head around it, like we have our days set now, and it's good. It's good. He's teaching me a lot. He's a handful.
So, are children coming in, because I've had different people talk about this, are children coming in different than, say, 25 years ago? Do you know
absolutely, absolutely. I think just like you always hear stories about how the environment and global warming and the toxins we have in our food, that the kids are getting larger and larger all the time. But we're also having more indigo, more crystal children, more children that are in touch with their spiritual side. Mm-hmm. I mean, you saw it infrequently years ago where you'd have like one kid who would be talking to things that aren't there, mm-hmm. and then you realize that they got older. Well, that's not just an imaginary friend. There's something different, because mm-hmm. they're sensing things that other children don't sense. So you're starting to see that more and more kids are tapping into that. The problem you get is with media such as it is nowadays, and there's very little good media nowadays. Mm-hmm. Even the mainstream media, like the CNNs of the world, aren't good media. Mm-hmm. It's still so biased and so on. So you get things like that where people will just jump on it. It's flavor of the week, and they'll take advantage. And one of the things that drives me out of my mind is those ghost hunter shows. Because first of all, they always go outside when it's dark, because I guess once you die, you don't work days anymore. They're always talking in a whisper. So my advice to any ghost hunter out there is, turn on the lights and talk in your big boy voice. Yes. Because most people's contact with the spirit world is their mom, or their dad, or their dog, or their child. It's not the Blair Witch Project. It's nothing dark. It's not, that's like, you do get hauntings, yes, and I've investigated hauntings over the years, but for the most part, it's somebody you loved.
Right. So
this thing that, they're always going around. The reality is, if I did a ghost hunting show tomorrow, it'd be simple. I'd walk in, open a door, go, oh yeah, there's something here. And that'd be, there you go. That's not much TV there.
So, and that's why they do it on the mainstream media. They make
that's why they convulse, and they have people, they cry, and they get all serious. And
so paranormal investigation, people call you into to their homes if they feel they're haunted. Is that what that is?
Yeah. And again, I approach stuff differently. I remember having somebody come to the store once and say, my house is haunted. And the first thing I asked them was, are you a religious person? And they said, yes. And I said, go see a priest or minister first. Right. If they won't do nothing, then go, because you want them to go to somebody that they believe in first. Yes. Again, for me, I deal with it on energy. I tell people all the time, positive energy is always stronger than negative energy. Mm-hmm. So no matter what's happening, as long as you believe, and they'll go, oh no, I'm a positive person, but then you talk to them and you find out, that's not positive. Positive isn't, like I'm okay, I think people like me, I try hard, but not everything works out. That's not positive. Positive is, I'm a good person. I like who I am.
Do you meet people like that?
That say I'm a good person, I like who I am? Me? You get that. You get that in this field.
Okay.
You get the peoples like the Tashins and stuff who are just shiny people.
Yes.
They just talk to you and you just go, there's that soothing quality.
Yeah.
But again, that's another thing about the business side of it, is that, closing your eyes and talking in a whisper doesn't make you spiritual. Mm. There has to be something beside that, and you get a lot of disingenuous and a lot of affected people. And that's kind of why I stopped doing the fairs. Once the late 90s came along and the internet really hit, all of a sudden anybody who could put up a website was an expert on something, whether they knew about it or not. I can cut and paste, so all of a sudden I'm on authority. It's like, No, I mean, I've seen three-dimensional spirits. I've seen shadow figures. I've seen, I've had a lot of weird things. I've lectured on alien phenomena. I've had an encounter experience. I've had a lot of things happen to me that correlate with the abduction experience. So I've had things happen that... but the difference between me and other people is, if I tell you I saw an alien, well, maybe you think I saw a ghost. And maybe somebody else thinks I saw an angel. Maybe somebody else thinks I didn't see anything at all. And I'm good with all of that. Because what you have to ask yourself, is the person I'm talking to honest? And are the events that surround the situation real? Everything else is open to interpretation. So whenever I tell people something that's happened to me, it's like, well, the events are real. These things happen. How you interpret it, that's up to you. You can say it's God or whatever. It's your own dogma. I mean, I've had some cool ghost stories happen to me.
Okay.
Again, this is not a dark ghost story. It was here in St. Catharines. I'm sitting in a Shipman's Cafe downtown, which used to be right across from the MTO building. And I used to sit in the window there. And this was when I was on the street. And people would walk by, see me in the window, run in and go, even though I'm known as the Ancient One, most of my friends call me the Old Man. And people would run in and go, "Old man, I got to talk to you." So one day, a friend of mine sees me in the window, comes in, and her father had passed away years earlier, and she was going through litigation with her family over the estate. She said, "I feel my father with me, but I don't know if it's the stress or everything, or if it's real or not. What do you think?" And I said, "Well, there's definitely a presence with you, but it's not over yet." She said, "Can I hang with you today?" I said, "Sure." So we talk a bit, and then she asked me if I'll go to her daughter's with her. So we walked to her daughter's. So we're walking down Queenston Street here, and we come upon this old antique store. And just as we get to the door, these guys are carrying out this old pump organ. And she goes, "Oh my God, that's the pump organ my father had." And I said, "Your father owned a pump organ like that?" She goes, "No, that's the one he had." She asked him to put it down. He used to tie up the inside because it was broken with a belt. Yes. So they lifted up the thing. It was tied with a belt. It was the exact pump organ. So it started to get freaky here. I mean, I got hair standing up talking about it. Yeah. I told her, I said, it's not over yet. We go to her daughter's house. We knock on the door. Her daughter opens the door. First words out of her mouth, "Have you heard from Grandpa? I heard his voice over the baby monitor last night." Not only had she heard his voice, but he used to leave candy under her pillow. And there was candy under her pillow that morning. So now it's getting really like beyond the realm. So I do a tarot reading for her daughter, and I say, it's not over yet. Your mom's, for some reason, she's still fighting this. I don't know why, but she's still fighting it. So I was a local poet at the time. There was a poetry event that night. So there's about 80 to 100 people there. We're sitting about in the middle of the room. It was out of the Past, the famous vintage clothing store here. About in the middle of the room, over to one side against the wall. Our friend Red is up playing the harp and singing. As she's singing, my friend starts bawling. And I'm a guy, so I'm like, what do I do? It's okay. When she comes down, I say, "What's wrong?" She goes, "I see my father standing beside her." So I had felt his presence there. A bunch of our friends had felt stuff because I had a lot of empathic type friends. But it was when we had a break in the evening, the intermission halfway through. And we were all a pretty close-knit group back then. This lady gets up from the back of the room. Never been to a group before. Never came to a group after. Doesn't walk up to the host or the lady who was singing. Walks directly up to Colette and myself and says, "I'm not psychic or anything, but when that lady was singing, I saw a man standing beside her." And then it was over. And that's what she needed, that outside source, to confirm that he was actually there. And for me, that's a story of love transcending death.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
One more is, this is a little, not dark, but I had an aunt who died at 33 of cancer. And her husband was a brute who used to beat her. And on her deathbed in the hospital, she told him, she said, "When I die, I'm coming back. I'm going to get you." So it's the day of her funeral. We're at the mayor's house, at my grandmother's house, for the wake. And he's standing in the doorway, and her picture's over the doorway. And it falls off. Cold cocks him right in the head, drops him.
Really?
Yeah.
That's classic.
Coincidence, for me, it doesn't matter what people's perspective of it. The thing is, it happened.
That's it.
And it's how you make you feel. Power of positive thinking and things like that. Is it really relevant? Whether you personally believe in it, if somebody's better for it. I mean, my biggest problem in the business side of this is always had a reticence to accept money, ever.
Mm-hmm.
I've done 99% of what I've done for free. And whenever I see stuff, or I turn on CTV, City TV one time, and I see this lady doing a smudging, which is smoke to get rid of evil spirits in your house, in Toronto, $400.
Oh.
I almost dropped. I'm like, oh my God! Like, are you kidding me?
That's awful.
I can teach you to do that in 5 seconds. So stuff like that just makes it's one of the things I don't like about it. Again, you have to be real.
So you have been in the, I'll call it the industry for long enough to see the shift in the 90s. Was it in the 90s that the commercial side started coming in? And
but it fluctuates, because I remember when I started, there was some native readers who dressed in native garb.
Mm.
And then they hit the 90s, and all of a sudden they're wearing suits and ties.
Mm.
And then the 21st century came, and all of a sudden they're back in their native garb.
Right.
So your audience changes. It's just like a lot of people will not call themselves psychic anymore.
Mm.
They'll be spiritual consultant, life coach. It'll be different terms because people associate different things with different terms.
Mm.
You know, I was raised Catholic. I tell people, you can always tell us kids who went to Catholic school because we're the ones who do this. But when I was in school, that was when they changed the name from the Holy Ghost to the Holy Spirit.
Right.
And everybody knew why they changed the name. They could tell us different reasons, but the reason was simple. Ghost was considered a negative term, and spirit was more people-friendly. And when you're all about numbers, which is what mainstream religion is, it's all about numbers, you do what serves your audience best.
So if someone's whatever 16 and they feel sort of a calling, what is there a path that someone can take?
Absolutely.
Like a set path?
I wouldn't take a set path at that age. I would explore as many different things, because the more different things I explore, the more I have to choose from. If I'm on one set path, then I think that this is the way, and that's when you get into problems. Well, I don't believe that religion should be a team sport where only the person wearing the right jersey gets into heaven. I don't like that attitude. Well, I believe this, but everybody who doesn't believe is going to hell. I don't like that kind of attitude. It should be like we should all be on the same team. We can believe different things, but at the end of the day, we're all the same people. So explore different religions, mainstream and non-mainstream. Explore different types of energy and healing. Explore different kinds of ethnic culture. Everything and everybody has something to offer. Talk to old folks, their history. Talk to little folks, they're not tainted yet. Sit there and listen to a kid go on forever about nothing. Just about nothing.
Is it pretty deep, is it?
Little kids are amazing. He doesn't talk yet, my son Darwin, but you see like a 2 or 3 year old pick up a stick or a stone, and it's the most fascinating thing.
They're in the moment.
Yes, they can make things of it. That's it, in the moment.
That's what I know. And I'm wondering, I'm at the stage now, I'm coming up to 40, and my friends are all getting to the point where they are thinking, oh my goodness, I'm not fulfilled and I want to stop this whole sort of corporate journey and I want to jump onto. When people hit that, I don't know if it's called midlife, when they hit that point, what advice do you give?
Again, I think exploring different things is important, but doing things for the right reason. I can go to another city, I could go to different schools, but at the end of the day, they asked Deepak Chopra once what he thought of the power of positive thinking. And he said, that's all well and good, but if you have 30 years of baggage, so midlife crisis, that's fine, but understand why you're where you are, why you're not happy. Because you can go someplace else and still be not happy.